those phrases and sentences
Great.
to really transfer the vocab constantly, but it's going to be hard.
Plus, if you find yourself saying, well, this is what this means, and then moving on, you might as well be saving your breath.
Yeah,
You need to include the student in a dialogue and to revisit that word. And having a card deck, putting a separate section in your language notebook that is simply for vocabulary, you know, that you revisit and you review. So these words have to be revisited in order to become part of their language.
One of the best things I got from the, when I went to the IDA training for RAVO, was their multiple meanings
Yes.
that you can start in level 1.
Right.
It was so useful to just even get the brains thinking, this word, pan, can have several meanings. And
I
back-
canned the crowd.
Right, hand with crowd,
Right.
hand crying, you know, back, that would be level 2, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it was so useful to incorporate in a warm-up or just a separate verbal expression, and it really gets them thinking, oh wow, yeah, some of them just don't even realize that a word can have multiple meanings. So just
Yeah.
bringing their attention to that concept is so useful.
Yes, and one of the two things on that, one of the handouts in Language 2, again, is a multiple meaning word card game, okay, and that you can play where you put out the word fish, you know, and start, and have the student use it in a sentence. How many sentences can you use it in with different meanings? And then you do it, and whoever gets the card has the most that they've used it. The other thing is that we've had 2 interns come through who are from China. And I've been working with both of them via Skype to Hong Kong. Really, I have. And it's been amazing. But in China, they don't have multiple meanings. They really don't. So learning English for them is incredibly hard for them to understand that this word can have more than one meaning.
They don't have multi-syllable words either.
They know.
Every word
Or-
is one syllable.
It's amazing, the difference between the languages. So I actually had one of them teach directly the multiple meanings in the context within sentences to their students. It was like we have it so easy when you think about it compared to students who have no idea about that. Okay, quickly, moving along. I think this was misunderstood. Shun, you did shun, and you did a little linkage demonstration, and it wasn't really linked in the way that we do linkages for new sounds. As I understand it, you can take final stable syllables and you can do links only in the sense that you're teaching them the sound and the writing as they name the letters. It's not no keyword sound, no spelling, say shun and write it. You know, it's all basically just practicing writing it and practicing the sound. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Okay, because the question is why only 6 linkages if it's regular for spelling? So, because it's not
There's no
a spelling linkage, this is a concept introduction. Okay. And we do that sometimes. We use the linkages just to practice the handwriting and application of the sound or the name to the symbol. Okay. When irregular spellings are taught, is students always naming the letters? But they code as instructed, and I think that is a confusion between what is spelling and what is reading. Okay? When you are reading an irregular sound, like digraph EU, and you know EU as in Europe, you underline it as a digraph and read it Europe, okay? But in spelling, it is not regular, so yes, you name the letters. Okay, otherwise you're doing open syllable U, R-O-P-E, okay? So irregular spelling is by definition learned words. Learned words are taught individually, and they are practiced, and they are always named in spelling. Okay, is that clear? All right. Again, this is along the lines of the dialectical thing. We say always AOU before shun, but ration is in the workbook, and that was confusing to the student, understandably, because we've been taught ration and rationale. But ration is the way it's pronounced in the book, and it has been pronounced that way. So we, again, acknowledge the student's input. Yes, I've heard it pronounced that way. In this case, it's an open syllable, so code and read as it is in the book. Okay? It means the same thing. Okay, and discuss the meaning. It should not be a point of absolute break die on this hill. You know, it's really, yes, I've heard it that way too, and acknowledge that they've heard it and I've heard it, and it's so good. There are so many learned words, very well said. And I think at this point, Sally had something, she said that Sandra Dillon went through the gray manual and highlighted or circled all the learned words she found to be essential to be taught.
You can, for the age of your children,
Mhm.
down at the bottom or the regular, Patty, you were in the class, right? Personally. No,
Okay.
I can't remember. Anyway, she had us go through the irregular words,
Mhm.
and they became learned. I mean, you're looking at maybe a young one, and he might need to know, I'm just gonna say a word, 8, okay? That's a word he's gonna use in school. If it's a higher level kid, then you're gonna look for words that he's gonna have to know in school. So you circle them, just go through that bottom piece and look at what your student probably will need, the ones you're working with. You can highlight them, you know, okay, yellow's young, blue's the older ones.
And the issue with learned words in the beginning in level 1 is we're laying the groundwork for regular procedures for decoding regular reading. So we have these learned words, the, said, of, do, to. We have very slow. That's not by mistake. That is to slowly build an awareness that there are words that cannot be coded. And eventually she comes to a page in level 2 where all of a sudden there's a list like 3 categories long of all these learned words. Those are words that she wants you to teach over time, not all at once. And certainly remember that every time you're practicing reading learned words, which should have its own deck and should be pulled out at least once a week and practiced, that you are teaching memorization. And you don't want to teach that because you're really still very carefully teaching blend through the vowel and finish, or this way, I'm sorry. You are teaching that, and that for many of our students is groundbreaking, to be able to sound through a syllable and read it and read a whole word. So be careful about how quickly you add learned words to your card deck, but I do them by family, like I do all the OUGH words, and then all the OULD words, and then all the days of the week and all the months and things like that, where you just kind of keep them in a category and keep building it. And they are applied in spelling. Once you've taught it to them, you can put it in a spelling sentence dictated.
Meredith, I'm
Yes.
sorry, on the website, can you provide your recommendation of what you do or what others would like to do? Because I think that would help everybody else of how we can chunk them.
For
Because
learned words?
when we're just looking at this, you know, big list, yeah,
Okay, sure.
like
but
your strategies as well.
So much of
to
what
help.
I've done is in the manual in terms of, and in her list of learned words that's in the language notebook. So I kind of go with that. My
Okay.
only thought is that it's easier if you kind of create a family,
Okay,
you know, and the OULDs are all. OUGHs, oh my goodness. I had a whole lesson on just though, through, and thorough. Just one lesson of just, you know, getting those
You lumped
squared
them all
away.
together. You lumped them all
I did, because he was reading, taking tests at the adult level, and he could not read or understand the questions because of all the learned words that were, I had to go through this test and pick out and teach directly and practice reading everything. And I made a whole deck of learned word cards. You get to be an adult, they are really, talk about every year you get behind more and more. I mean, goodness, there's so much catching up, but they are very teachable. They really
And
are.
they're fragile,
And fragile.
ever so fragile.
Absolutely. He's the one that panics when something is, I teach him something that I taught him something else earlier. Trouta, any good resources for beginning morphology in level 1? What do you use?
I've actually written out a list of possible prefixes and roots that could be used. You'll get that. And I do use these, the white books there from Canada for resource for roots, for prefixes. Suffixes you won't need so much because you're going to go with the introductions in the film books. But yeah, those books I've used frequently.
These are like dictionaries of just prefixes and roots.
Right.
And it gets into the Greeks as well, yeah.
Marcia Henry, I didn't put it in there, but I will find it.
He
But
sells them.
she has a list, it was from an IDA meeting. She has the, what, like RUP and disrupt.
But you
And-
made a whole page of.
I did,
And
but
it's
I like
awesome.
I like hers.
Oh, okay.
I just put it all together, but she really had it like the prefixes, that there's like 4 or 5 dis and stuff like that. And then she had the roots, and there's like 6 right away. So she gives you
Mhm. In order.
from left to right when these should be introduced. And if I find, I ran into it the other day. You have it too. Yeah.
We have
But I will scan it and put it on the website. It's in the
Excellent.
classroom.
Well, your chart is what I use, and it's like, almost like a progress chart. It's
Yep,
everything
I
you
looked
know.
at, you got a crooked one, I've done the same
I
thing.
do. You all got crooked ones, 'cause that's what I see.
I'll send a cleaner looking one.
I think in general, it's a good rule to go by the ones that make the most sense. Like tract is easily usable.
Jack.
Everybody can visualize, subtract, retract, even once you've introduced the open syllable.
Yeah.
And generally, you begin with Latin.
Jack.
We begin
The
in,
Latin.
sounds and syllables starts with Anglo-Saxon, which is basic base words that you add suffixes to, okay? But then we get into Latin more in level 2, and we get into level 3, there's a lot of Latin. You'll find them in words, they'll just jump out at you if you know them. The first one I remember is port. You know, my mother's porch is a port in the storm. What a great sentence to start teaching port, yeah.
If you real, and Joy and Patty will say this, Moose Materials has everything with a picture, okay? And you match it, that's what I kinda did. And so you don't have to make this, but if you went to put Moose Materials, she has a picture, and then her drill card. And on the back of the drill cards are everything that's in these books. It's kind of expensive, but it will save you a ton of time. Yeah. Who all has the Latin roots?
Oh, I don't have.
Who has the prefixes with the dinosaurs? Okay. I went to Chicago and Janet Jones was presenting, and she had her little dinosaurs. It's like here and down. I mean, I'm taking this. They learn the prefixes within a month from these little dinosaurs. You go and buy these dinosaurs because they're there, and they, you know, my kids have already, they learn them right away. And I've been telling Joy and Patty, I need to show y'all how you do all these hand signals for it. That's kind of how I picked up on from her class. They're really, the kids will, even, you know, this 8th grade, she said, can we do the dinosaurs today? So she likes to.
Now look, that's the
How about,
premise of Raybo. Learning should be fun.
Yes.
Sally,
Thank
how
you.
about the UC and Learn?
I'm sorry, what?
The UC and Learn cards. Remember the cards that you...
Yes.
Those
That-
are good
those
for
are good too.
recruits. They're really good.
There's so many materials out there,
I
and
know.
what I don't want to say is go out and buy this, go out and buy that. But I make most everything, and everyone knows that because they're really
It
sad.
depends on if you have 7 students at a
But if you're gonna make your own syllable cards, one question here is how do I put the diacritical marks on them? Guess what? Don't try. We tried to do chur cards.
No, you can.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I know you can, but we
Very
did the
easily.
chur cards, and when you printed them off, they were all out of
Oh,
skew.
dear.
Remember that? Yeah. I
You
would
go to-
I would simply make,
Can I tell you?
no. You can do it, but I tell you, the formatting is just really tricky. Here's what I would suggest. Make your cards and go back and code them very carefully with the black pen and then print them off.
Yeah. Then just copy.
And just copy them.
Let Jennifer share hers.
All right, Jennifer,
Alright,
tell us how
so
to
if
do
you
it.
go, if you do something, say you pull up a Google document, you can go to insert, there's a drop-down menu. You pick Latin, there's a drop-down menu. You
Yes.
find your E with a breve or an E with a
You can
macron.
even just search it by letter, like you hit E and then
Yep. and
It's all there on the
Search it
internet.
in. Meredith, the trick to the formatting though,
Yeah.
is then you have to export it into a PDF file.
Right.
So after you do it, right, so it doesn't shift when you print it.
Okay, there you go. Guys, did you get it?
Setting one of them.
Jennifer's my go-to person when it comes to technology, I'll tell you.
Find someone that's.
I go back to the cut and paste and Scotch tape, you know, that's my hero. Elmer's glue was the hero. Okay, we have 10 minutes and I do want to cover some more of these
Now, it
questions.
doesn't have to be.
But if you all want to know how to do it, Jennifer will tell you.
Or you can make us that.
Again.
Sure, yeah, in my free time I'll do that.
Ellen, in the remaining time that we have, Ellen will talk to you about how we can access some of these wonderful files that have been handed out.
The questions you gave to me.
Yes.
Someone had asked in visual review in level 5 if the student is still, instead of just going through and saying the sounds. I don't know who asked this, but some student, who is that? Some students have a difficulty shifting to just, and they keep naming the keyword.
I think it's just hard to do all, like for A, you have, and there's no way students go
Oh.
all acronym.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's.
They
rattle it
It takes so much time
To do it, are you saying it's hard for them to do it without the keyword?
without the keywords.
Oh.
It
Oh,
is.
that's what I meant.
Well, they can,
Right, but it's.
They can,
once they
right.
can.
Yeah,
Sometimes they go,
yeah,
Yeah.
they may have to think
But I
about
found
that.
most of them just,
I think-
it's beneficial all the way, I mean, even for
Some
some neurons,
suggestions,
when I
maybe.
see that picture.
I don't know that there's any reason why you
There's
can't
nothing.
have them still doing that. They need to do it, they need to do it.
But it's possible.
But it is possible.
I know it's possible, but
Yeah.
is it isn't it more beneficial for them to see those pictures every day?
I didn't have paper.
If they, so then they still need that.
Yeah.
Yes. Some still need that,
So
but
just
that
take
ultimate
that
goal,
for a while, like just so many, like just.
the ultimate goal is to just know the sounds, because that's when they're reading. Right. But, sorry.
Did the question?
Wait, there was one more question.
Yes. Go for it. Did that satisfy?
Yeah, I just.
If they need it,
You
they
go by,
If they need it, they
you
must.
go by
But then it
instinct.
takes so much time, I mean, I just feel like it's so important, because eventually you're not associate that. I just feel like that it takes such a big part of the lesson to go through all those.
But wait, I'm not saying that you have to do the whole thing in every lesson.
Right.
I said I do that,
Every once in a while.
you know, but, no, just do the most frequent, and the frequent ones, I still show the keyword card, and, but, you know,